Hello and welcome to the Video Game Book Club, the book club where we read video game books that tie into the games. Yeah, I don't know how to. What was it? What was
We
it?
read books that are based on video games in the world of, or
What? Oh, in the world
involve
of. Oh,
somewhat. Sometimes they're directly from the games,
sometimes they're sequels.
and
Sometimes they're
sometimes
prequels.
they're just
Sometimes.
out of left field and
Yeah.
ain't nobody care.
This, speaking of not important, just kidding. This one's actually kind of important. We read Mass Effect Retribution by, you guessed it, Drew Karpyshyn.
This is the third book of the Kali Sanders
Saga. This isn't the final Mass Effect book, though. There's one more after this. But this book seems to have a greater connection to the games than its predecessors. Quote, Game Informer, I guess. So, quick explanation on why all the Mass Effect books. Well, be me playing Mass Effect 3 and getting to a point where Anderson talks about running into Kai Lang with Collie Sanders and how Grayson was brought back, same as Shepard, like Paul Grayson from the previous book. You guys know if you listened to our previous episodes on Mass Effect Book 2. What was that one called?
That's a great question. Gotta be in here somewhere. Ascension.
Ascension, yeah, okay. Yeah, I was like, oh, they're talking about Ascension, and then I realized they're talking about Retribution, which we haven't read, so I had to get on this. What does the back of the book say?
Humanity has reached the stars, joining the vast galactic community of alien species. But beyond the fringes of explored space lurks the Reapers, a race of sentient starships bent on harvesting, quote unquote, the galaxy's organic species for their own dark purpose. The Elusive Man, leader of the pro-human Black Ops group Cerberus, is one of the few who knows the truth about the Reapers. I feel like he doesn't know the truth
He
because he's
just
like
knows that they're
searching for the
coming.
truth.
Well, nobody believes Shepard, right? That the Reapers are coming, except for the Elusive Man.
Well, Anderson's like, oh yeah, we have all this information, but not a lot of people know about it. So,
Select few.
yeah. To ensure humanity's survival, he launches a desperate plan to uncover the enemy's strengths and weaknesses by studying someone implanted with the modified Reaper technology. He knows the perfect subject for his horrific experiments. Former Cerberus operative Paul Grayson, who wrested his daughter.
What?
That should be wrestled, rested with the W. Interesting word choice. His daughter from the Cabal's control with the help of Ascension project director Kali Sanders. It's Kali, right?
I think so.
Okay. But when Kali learns that Grayson is missing, she turns to the only person she can trust, Alliance war hero Captain David Anderson. Together, they set out to find the secret Cerberus facility where Grayson is being held. But they aren't the only ones after him, and time is running out. As the experiments continue, the sinister Reaper technology twists Grayson's mind. The insidious whispers grow ever stronger in his head, threatening to take over his very identity and unleash the Reapers on the unsuspecting galaxy.
That was very long.
Yes.
I think it spoiled a couple of things.
Yeah, that's definitely the whole book right there.
Yeah, that's it.
Congratulations, you did it.
Wow, this is the shortest episode ever.
It was all about.
So this takes place right after Mass Effect 2, but before Shepard goes to jail.
And this is 3 years after the previous book.
Yeah, which I think was before 2.
Yes, right.
So you need to have read the other 2, I feel like.
Yeah,
because, or at least listen to us talking to you about it.
You could absolutely do that instead. Recommended. But yeah, it has characters. They get a little bit into the backstories, but it's like a sentence or two.
Yeah.
And you won't understand.
You're
the
gonna be so confused if you just pop into this one.
Yep.
Unless you just want to know about Kai Lang, I guess. Then you're good.
Yeah, because he makes his first appearance here.
Mm-hmm.
And
in the game, he really comes out of left field. I'm like, who is this guy? He's from the books.
Surprise!
Surprise! And Anderson will not stop talking about Collie Sanders in 3.
Ugh.
He needs to stop.
He likes her.
Audiobook is the same guy. It's David Colucci. He does a great job all the time reading these books. What's our rating?
I gave this 2 stars because I texted you last night when I was finishing it, and I was super mad.
Yeah, so you hated this book. I think this one's the better of the 3 that we read.
I think out of the characteristics of Sanders, I liked her the most in the first book, and she just gets more irritating each book we read.
I definitely didn't like her in 2.
But plotline, there's a better plotline,
Yeah.
I think, but like the characters were just so annoying to me that
It was just more interesting because so much stuff was happening.
yes.
There wasn't a lot of downtime in this book, which was kind of nice.
That and there's really only 2. They tried to do 3 plot lines, but really there's only 2.
Yeah, that's nice. And that was my problem with the first book. Okay, well, I don't have anything else to say about this, so let's move on to spoiling it.
I gave it 2.
I gave it 3.
You gave it 3. Okay.
All right, we're gonna talk about this entire book.
Let's
spoil
go.
the whole thing. So, time to learn a little bit about what
Retribution.
Cerberus is doing, I guess.
But okay, so in 3, is Cerberus still like down and out?
Cerberus is attacking you all the time.
Yeah, but they like lose all their money in this book.
Yeah, but they're still.
How are they funded in 3 of them?
I don't know.
All right.
I don't think
For
he lost
another
all of
time.
his money.
No, Elusive Man's like, oh, I still have all my money, but I don't want to fund Cerberus. It's expensive.
Well, he did. So
we do start our prologue with the Elusive Man, and he is staring out into space, thinking about how beautiful and deadly the universe is, and man must survive.
yeah, he's thinking about the Reapers. He's in a secret space station, of course.
Smoking some cigarettes and drinking some whiskey, which
Hating on aliens,
yes,
as usual.
he's drinking some Jim Beam, which, I mean, personally, I like Jim Beam, but at the same time, like, when I think of iconic whiskey drinks, I do not Jim Beam think of.
So should we give a rundown of who the Elusive Man is? For those who don't
he's
know.
like the X-Files cigarette smoking man.
He runs a pro-human organization in space called Cerberus. That's all you need to know, really.
He has military
He's
background.
Elusive. He's a man.
He's got a crap ton of money. And I
thought it was interesting that they don't have health problems with cigarettes anymore.
He's like, we fixed all these cancer problems.
So you can just smoke for funsies.
And then they just fix you later.
Yeah. So that's why he smokes. For funsies. That's interesting.
Yeah, he was also being like super racist, speciesist about cigarettes, about how we're the only ones that do it because everyone else thinks it's gross.
They talk about the plot of Mass Effect 2 and the Collectors and Shepard and whatever.
Mm-hmm. Human colonists were being abducted. Shepard had to go figure out what was going on, and then they discover that the Collectors are actually working for the Reapers, and Cerberus is now going to become the new Collectors because they've got questions and they need answers. So
yeah,
they are experimenting on their own people.
Continuing the Collectors' experiments.
Because ethics and morality, this is a quote, had to be cast aside for the survival of the species.
The Elusive Man gets a call from Kai Lang, his wet works assassin. I didn't know what that word meant. And I was like, what does that mean? Is it wet because he kills a bunch of people and there's blood everywhere?
Did you look it up?
I forgot. So
I think it is that he is like the hands-on man.
That seems like such a goofy term for like an
Covert assassin performed by government operatives. Can be traced
wet operation.
The criminal slang from at least the 19th century originally meant robbery that involved murder or spilling blood.
So it's just wet. It's a wet job. Ew.
That sounds so wrong.
That's gross.
And he says, we found him and he's on Omega.
Yeah, Paul. We found Paul Grayson, which is the guy I was looking for, which is the protagonist of the last novel. You can say Collie is, but she ain't. It's Paul Grayson. So he was like
he was a douchebag
operative who decided to ditch them because they suck.
He's like, yeah, I like humans. Aliens suck. But then they gave him a daughter. And then it's like,
drug problem.
Yeah, and then he has a drug problem. Kai Lang, just for background information, he was liberated from an Alliance prison camp. He's also a speciesist, and the Elusive Man sees that as proof of character. So you have good character.
He went
if you
to
hate
jail
aliens.
from the Alliance because he fought a Krogan and killed it in a bar. I can't explain to you what a Krogan is. If you're here and you don't know what that is, I can't help you.
Kind of reminds me of a frog, but it's got like a rhino. If a rhino and a frog were combined. So we have Grayson, and it's been... Is that, are we done with Pearl? Are we on chapter 1?
Oh yeah, Kyling is gonna go get Grayson. Bring him in.
Yep.
Let's go.
So Paul Grayson, who changes his name.
To Paul Johnson?
Yes. Dude, change your full name. Like,
yeah, really boring.
I get, like, you're like, oh, my name's Paul. But Grayson Johnson, like, no, son. Of course someone's going to find you. And this is where we find out that it's been 3 years since he took his quote-unquote daughter, because it's not his daughter, and betrayed Cerberus. And so he's trying to get over his xenophobia, or whatever the term would be if it's different species versus races. And so he's working for a criminal lord on Omega.
Yeah.
She is known as a pirate.
Yeah.
I don't get why. But
I don't get why either. She's just a crime lord.
Her name is Arya. Is it Taluk?
Arya Talok. Yeah.
And she likes to party at Afterlife because she owns it. And
so he has a new crew. He's working with a Batarian named Sanak and an Asari named Lizelle.
Mm-hmm.
The group's hottie.
Yeah, and Carpation really talks quite a bit about how the Asaris are hot.
Yeah, okay, can I just say something? So, and when you transition between Mass Effect 1 and 2, they give you a little comic, at least in the new version, where they're like, previously on Mass Effect, and then it's like what you did and stuff. And Commander Shepard, they really, really wanted you to romance your Asari Liara friend, because they emphasize how hot she is in that little flashback between. They're like, I didn't know Asari could be so smoking hot. But then we were just friends because I didn't romance her. And it was so embarrassing to watch my Commander Shepard say those lines. Sensual as Asari can be.
Basically, they're just very curvaceous ladies with blue
And they look different
hair.
to every species, is what they said.
Oh, well, that's
every
confusing.
species sees them differently.
Because they like to they use their mind effects to make them look.
So we're seeing them look like blue humans with slick back hair.
I wonder what other people look.
I'm assuming they look like their species.
But I mean, so if a Krogan saw them, they would be big and beefy.
Yeah.
All right, Mass Effect, you need to get on that. I need to see.
It'd be cool if you could pick your species in a Mass Effect game.
Oh yeah.
And then every game, the Asari just look different.
That would be cool. That would be actually cool for VR. So they're on a mission. They gotta kill the Taurians because they're drug dealers. They peddle in red sand, and
there's an up and coming gang called the what are they called? You have like the Blood Pack and the Blue Suns and all that other stuff that are there. But then this new group of like mainly Turians.
I thought they were all Turians.
I thought so too. And then you run into them in the DLC for 3 when you're on Omega, and not all of them are Turians, but like 90% of them.
Well, they lost quite a few people in this book. Talon gang.
The Talons. Okay, so yeah, the Talons are peddling drugs, and they're not giving Arya a cut, so she's gonna go bust them up.
Yes, because she's a pirate, and so she sends her gang to kill the Turian Talons and take all of their drugs. And then Grayson's like, we're not just gonna walk into a club with all these drugs, are we? Like, maybe we should stash them somewhere. Let's put them at my house.
In my apartment. I'm a recovering drug addict. Really good idea, Paul.
Also, like, where they hide it in his apartment is so dumb.
Oh, and also he's sleeping with the Asari, right?
Yes.
And yet another thing about cradle robbery. But even though it's an Asari, so they lived for like 1,000 years.
But she's in her hoe phase, and she's like a teenager, or like a 19-year-old.
Anyway, it's gross. I don't like it. Moving on to chapter 2.
Collie Sanders is working with kids. And we meet Nick and Yando.
All you need to know about is Nick, though.
Yeah, well, Yando becomes important later on, but they're working after curfew, and they get busted by Collie, who's like, "Go to bed." But first, I need to prick you with this needle to take measurements. Are we just gonna pass?
Oh God! So another weird thing. You have your cradle robber thing, and then the next chapter you have. So a lot of students apparently have a crush on her, and she's
like 50.
Yeah.
And people live well into their hundreds, so she's still pretty young. And
Drew Karpyshyn really wants you to know that Collie Sanders is hot.
All the
And
boys like her.
All the boys
Hot
like
for
her.
teacher. Cool.
In all 3 books. And so in this one, he decided to show you how she's super hot and all the students want her is when she was giving a pinprick to one of her students, they got an erection.
Yeah, he's 15, and it was awkward for everyone, including the reader. So
yeah, I'm like, you don't have to tell me that to prove me that she's hot. Like, you could just say it,
or Nick could have made a comment.
Yes, it was weird. I was uncomfortable, and I'm moving on now.
She gets a call from Grayson. Apparently, they're still pen pals.
Yeah,
3 years later,
all the time.
But they both like don't do well after they talk to each other. So this is like the weirdest relationship.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because as soon as Grayson hangs up, he's like, "Oh, I'm in a bad mood," and Collie's like, "Oh, all I can think about is
Grayson,
the daughter."
Oh,
She's not even thinking about Grayson. They have a weird connection, and it's not healthy for either of them.
but they call each other all the time.
Yeah, and it's like, "How are you doing?" "I'm all right. How are you doing?" "I'm all right. Okay, bye."
And then they just sit in silence for hours.
So Grayson is struggling with changing himself to be a better man, and so he decides to become a killer from a killer, which was weird. It's like, you were a hitman for Cerberus and now you're a hitman for Arya, so I don't know if that makes you a better person.
He didn't change very far.
No, it was weird. And he has this weird Jekyll and Hyde thing, which continues throughout the whole book, but we know that he's a drug addict. Red sand gives you biotic abilities
for a short period of time.
And then you have crazy ass withdrawals. And so he has not done red sand in 3 years, but he's a drug addict. So once an addict, always an addict. And
once there's a bunch of drugs in his apartment.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, I could just take just a little." And then, because one of the bags were cut open and he gets a little bit on his shirt, and he's like, "Ooh, I could just take this right now.
Just snort that off my shirt."
So you have like internal dialogue in italics in the book.
I was just listening to it, so I didn't see that.
But it is. Does he do like a weird voice change when it's himself talking about himself? It's a weird Jekyll and Hyde thing, and it starts in chapter 3. So it starts early, and then it will continue the entire book. So let's hide the red sand at my apartment. I'm an assassin who used to work for a terrorist organization. Where am I going to hide my drugs?
Where?
Under my bed.
Nice.
I'm like, you don't have a secret compartment, home skillet? Like,
it's Omega, they should.
What is happening? Like, at least hide it in like the toilet or something like that. They're all wrapped. Come on.
So he went to Afterlife after not doing drugs because he's a good boy. Mm-hmm. And so he talks to Arya, and Arya is actually talking to the leader of the Talons.
Yeah, they're already there. Grayson's like late to the party, and they're like, "Well, we apologize that we're not giving you your cut.
So you can have 5% of the red sand
they
money."
said 3%, and Arya's like, "I'm taking 5%," and they're like, "Fine." And she's like, "Just because of it, I'm gonna keep all the drugs that I took. Learn your lesson, Talons."
Arya says she'll pick up the sand from the apartment tomorrow and shoos Grayson away to go hang out with Lizelle in the club.
She is on the 3rd floor.
Ooh, partying. Grayson doesn't feel very sexy tonight after talking with Collie, so he's not gonna go bone Lizelle. He's gonna go back to his apartment alone.
No, but they do meet up. She's dancing with other humans because she's got a thing for humans right now. Because she's not about to have a kid. But they're like... How does the Asari work? Because they're all female, right? Or they're not quite anything.
They're
Because they talked about that a little bit in the book, like how they can have offsprings, like they can mate with other.
It's mainly like your energy, so they can mate with anybody.
But like Lizelle's not there yet because she's still kind of young. Like I said, she's in her hoe phase, so she's just hanging out with everyone. And Grayson, they have like a agreement, but they're not really in a relationship.
No, he's also in his hoe phase.
Yeah, so he's not in the mood, so he goes home.
Kai Lang is in Afterlife, and he's like, "I'm only gonna get Grayson if he goes home alone." And oh, look, he did, so.
And he's like waiting in line because Afterlife's the place to be unless you know someone. So Kai Lang has to be in this like hour line, and people, like, you can only go in when someone else comes out. He's covered in tattoos. Safety. Oh, like, he's also in disguise, so he covered one of his neck tattoos with another neck tattoo. I'm like, just don't have a tattoo.
He doesn't really need to be in disguise.
Because really,
to
if
be
you're
honest.
like, hey, there's a guy with a bunch of tattoos, I'm not looking specifically at what type of tattoos. I just see that they're tatted.
Well, he's in line anyway. So
Yeah, and
it
he's
doesn't
not
really
getting
matter.
in, but that's okay because Grayson comes out and he's like, psh, he's alone
Do you think how long do you think he's been there for? He's been waiting every night for
in
him to come
line.
out. Yeah, he just goes in line and he waits for Grayson.
Doesn't
to come
ever
out,
make
but
it inside.
Grayson comes out with Lizelle and he's like, mission
No,
aborted for
mission
today.
abort. Target has left the club alone. Plan is a go.
Grayson is on edge and he calls Lizelle anyway.
Yep, she's like, I'll be over there in 20 minutes.
Lang and the gang went to Grayson's apartment. Talked to the apartment guard saying they
This
were
is
here
so
for Grayson's
dumb.
birthday party.
We're here to surprise him. You're not on the list. He's supposed to be in a super secure building.
Mm-hmm.
These people are like, well, we want to surprise him. It's his birthday. And he's like, you're not on the list.
We brought presents though.
And they go through all the presents.
And then they also bribe them.
Yeah. And like they made a point where they unwrapped all the presents, they left the trash on the ground, and then they told because they're a human gang, because they're Cerberus, they're like, you pick that up.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, if I wasn't here to get Grayson, I would kill these guys.
Yeah, because his guards are Turians.
Mm.
The apartment guards.
That
guards
was so dumb.
told them that Lizelle was up there, and they were like, "Oh shit, can't abort now."
Make sure you knock.
Yeah,
I like-
Grayson and Lizelle were.
Yes, so they were taking a break because
they're
were
both nude.
active, and he's like, "Oh, I'm dehydrated. I'm gonna go drink this thing of water," and then
Kylang busts through the door
because someone like breaks into the security thing, and his first thought is not about Lizelle or the fact that he's butt ass naked. It's the fact that, oh no, they're here for me. I should warn Collie.
So yeah, the Lang gang busted in. We're shooting. Lizelle grabbed Grayson's pistol. Grayson grabbed her. She gets shot in the chest.
But they're shooting tranks at them. So it's a weird sound, and he's like, what's that? And he looks down and notices. He's like, oh, they're not shooting us with real bullets. But Lizelle is. And he's like carrying her, like dragged her body.
Yeah, he's dragging her around.
And Darren's dead.
Who's Darren?
He was one of the humans. I'm like, why does he get a name? He was weird.
She's spraying bullets down the hall.
Yeah.
She gets Darren. And then she passes out from the trank. Grayson sends his files to Collie really quick. And then deletes them.
He pressed the button that's like, emergency, send this to the last person, and then delete all my stuff, which was smart.
And then he gets tranked right after that.
Mm-hmm. They kill Lizelle.
They slit her throat. It's really fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Then plans on blaming the whole thing on the Talons.
Well, they take all the drugs too, right?
Yeah, they take all the drugs because they want to blame it on the Talons.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to be like, oh, it's a drug thing. Everyone knows that Grayson's a drug addict.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to say that he took the drugs and ran. And then they also, kill the guards, too.
Yeah, they do on their way back down, I think. Because they're like, there's no way we're leaving here with all this drugs and, a dude that we're carrying.
Like a naked dude, too.
Yeah, we're not going to get out of this. So they took Grayson's pistol and knife and they killed the apartment guards and got off the station.
Call the elusive man. Tell him Grayson's coming home.
Back to Collie.
She never sleeps well after Grayson calls. I'm like, then stop contacting each other. You both have this toxic relationship where talking to the other person is not good. So let's cut communication. Because they didn't really end on the greatest of terms either.
No, they didn't. I don't even know why they're pen pals.
It's weird.
So she gets Grayson's message saying, if you're watching this, Cerberus has found me and they might come for you too.
Mm-hmm. Before she gets the phone call, though, we find out that Grissom, her father, has died. But he's not important anymore.
I don't care.
And then she's lying in bed and saying, why do all the men in my life tend to disappear? Get over yourself, girl.
She's just thinking about the plot of the first book?
And the second book. Because she brings up the other dude.
Well, that guy sucked, so.
Yeah, and she gets Grayson, if you're watching this, then I'm probably dead. Message. And she gets all of Cerberus's information. And then he says, don't try to rescue me. Which I think is, for me, is presumptuous. But apparently he knows Collie a
you
little
think
better.
you're gonna come save? I'm gonna come save you?
Yeah. So she's like, all right, I'm gonna come save you. He asked you not to.
She's gonna do it. She cares about him in a weird way.
Then Arya is conducting like a CSI investigation.
Do you think they want to bone Grayson and Collie?
She sounds ready for anything.
So does he.
Yeah.
I think they do. I think they're pen pals with benefits, but they're too far away to enact on the benefits.
Well, later on, there's that whole Anderson versus Grayson thing, and is he jealous or is he not?
Oh, God.
So back at Grayson's apartment, they're doing like a CSI thing. Lizelle was a spy. She was spying on Grayson for her mother.
Yes. So Arya is in Grayson's apartment trying to figure out what the hell just happened.
And Sinek's like, yeah, it was definitely Grayson. Grayson did this. It's all his fault. He doesn't like him.
Fair enough. I also don't like him.
No. And yeah, so we find out that that's her offspring. Like, they don't really refer to her as her daughter, just her offspring.
Grayson was only allowed to live because Lizelle liked him.
And
Arya didn't like Grayson.
What if you're looking at this scene, there is bullets. Obviously, they took Darren with them, so there's no humans there. The drugs are gone. The apartment shot up. The guards are dead downstairs. Am I thinking that Grayson did all this and left? No, I'm thinking someone killed or took Grayson.
Yeah, but Arya's not the brightest crayon in the
criminal lord. She's like running all of Omega.
It doesn't matter.
She'll make awful decisions.
So Arya's gonna try to track that message that Grayson sent out to Collie. Okay, chapter 6. Grayson woke up nude
and his tongue's bleeding.
And the elusive man is there. This is embarrassing.
And he tells her Collie is irrelevant. Like, we don't care about Collie.
All right. They're going to experiment on Grayson using stuff they acquired from the collectors.
Humanity needs a hero, probably a martyr in the end. And congratulations, Grayson. It is you. We're going to implant cybernetics and Reaper tech into you.
They give him little nanites in his skin.
Mm-hmm. And then it grows.
And then, yeah, okay, so...
Which is weird. The description of him later, I'm like, that's got to be terrifying to look at.
So I know why the collectors were doing it. It's because the Reapers told them to.
Yeah.
But the point of making humans into basically Reapers is to...
They're Borg. Like, this is a straight Star Trek ripoff.
It's to what? Because
they're hive mind collective.
Well, I know, but it seems like, what does the elusive man want to get out of doing this?
He needs to know why they're doing what they're doing, because he doesn't
want to defeat the Reapers. He wants to control the Reapers. Yes. So
but he says it was to defeat them, but really, by doing this experiment, it's like, what are they up to, and how can I use it to my advantage?
Yeah, because that's why he wanted you to keep the collector base, and 2 was to use it to control the Reapers, because they were making that big skeleton Reaper at the end of the game.
They also defeated the Protheans.
They are Protheans.
Yes, we find out. We found that out in our AV...
in the Mass Effect anime before the game, because they tell you that in 2.
Yeah, that's weird.
So he's just wanting to make Reapers to control Reapers, but husks are basically human Reapers anyway. Mm-hmm. So he's just making another husk.
Yeah. Dr. Nori puts Grayson in a coma. They've reached phase 2. Subject isn't human anymore. Grayson will never leave the facility.
He's turned into a cyborg.
With like translucent skin. That's so scary.
I think it's kind of sick.
You can see the implants.
The idea that, well, I guess because it gets to the point where he can kind of fight the Reapers in his brain. But I think the idea of having, like, you can have your Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde 2 personality thing, where one of you is a Reaper and the other one of you is a human being.
And they just conk you out and take over. They're like, we need you for this moment to appear humanoid.
Kai Lang was there, too, I guess.
Yeah.
Being like, don't worry, if Grayson escapes, I'll kill him.
I'll just kill him.
Okay, now Anderson time.
Chapter 7, we're with Admiral David Anderson, and he now works at the Citadel.
Yeah, so this was, because you can choose to have Anderson take over, right? So they wanted to be vague, because you could also not choose him.
Yeah, I would not choose him. He's not a very good leader.
You don't want to choose the other guy, Udina?
I don't know.
Udina freaking sucks. You kill Udina in 3 for working for Cerberus.
No.
The game expects you to pick Anderson, but then Anderson gives up his job for Udina in 3, so it doesn't matter anyway.
Anderson makes a weird joke, and it's kind of offensive to even human people is like, oh, we just kill them. And
The L Corps was not very happy
the
about
L Corps
that.
is like, humans have a disturbing sense of humor. Why is that even funny? I didn't find it funny either.
The L Corps just wanted to talk to Anderson, and Anderson did not want to talk to this L Corps. He wanted to complain about, like, diplomats. It
He
seems
wanted
like to me,
spill
though,
the tea
in this book, that Anderson, they assumed that you made him, what is it, counselor?
Yeah.
Human person counselor? Because
Representative.
why the hell would he even be there then?
He doesn't like his job. It's very evident.
He's tired of being a politician. He gets back from lunch and gets a message from Collie saying she's on the Citadel and they gotta meet in person.
And so Anderson's like, screw my job. I'm gonna go meet this lady. Sorry, guys, I can't be in negotiations anymore. I have other things to attend to.
Udina's in charge. Bye. They meet up and Collie tells him everything.
And yeah, Grayson's not really your friend, Collie. And no, you don't have to save him. He told you not to.
She cares about Grayson. I don't know why, but she does.
Yeah. Does she know that he's a killer for Arya?
I don't think that she does. But she definitely knows he was a killer for Cerberus.
Yeah.
So.
The Alliance has tried to bring down Cerberus for 30 years. Which is, so some of the timelines also don't match up to me. So Cerberus has been around for 30 years?
I guess. I don't know how long Cerberus
been
around for.
The Elusive Man says it's been 30 years since he's been in the military. So, or since he's had active combat. So he started...
Cerberus can't be that old.
I don't think so, yeah.
Because, well, also the Elusive Man looks freaky, so he definitely has got that plastic surgery, so he could be older than he looks.
But you'd have to amass all that wealth over time, and people wouldn't know who you were right away if he's trying to build it up.
I don't know where he got all that money being dirty.
I don't know. She's all like, they could be looking for me. And I said, lady, they're not even looking for you. Like, you are not that important. No one cares.
Well, they technically Arya is, because that's who got the information about Cerberus that Grayson sent.
But she doesn't know that until the Elusive Man.
No, but she just got, imagine getting a secret message that's like all of the information of a guy who's probably dead now. Yeah, someone's got to be looking for you.
Ari doesn't know that because that was part of him wiping it. You couldn't see his logs in and out.
Yeah, but she's trying.
Yeah, she's trying, but she won't succeed. But Ari doesn't know about Collie until the Elusive Man tells her about it.
I know, but I'm giving Collie the benefit of the doubt, because imagine getting that kind of an information thing from somebody that's like, I'm about to die. Here's a bunch of stuff. And it's like all the like dirty little secrets about Cerberus. Yeah, you're gonna be like, Cerberus is gonna want this. So they talk to the Turian ambassador. They ask them for help.
Or Nia? It's a lady.
Since the Alliance has too many Cerberus double agents in it.
They're like, we definitely can't trust any humans. Because they're super speciesist. So let's go to a Turian because they hate humans. And we should be fine. Arya finds out about Paul's true identity and that he was employed with Cerberus. And they found Sanders. They can't find Paul, but they found Sanders.
Yeah, they get the info about Grayson, his daughter, and Collie. But not where Grayson went.
Grayson's in a cell that has a bed and a toilet, but nothing else. And a bunch of food.
Voices now.
But I'm like, it's like, there's not even a chair in this cell. I'm like, you have a bed. That's what you sit on. Like, it's gross too because he doesn't have a shower.
Yeah.
And it'll talk about how gross he smells later, but I'm like, why?
He's still naked.
But he's not even cold.
The Elusive Man decides to give him red sand to make the indoctrination faster. So he sends in Kai Lang to like ninja inject him with red sand.
So like, he's like, I'm not going to eat any food because they put something in me and it might grow. I'm like, it's cybernetics. It's not a parasite. Like,
what do you understand?
I'm not going to eat. And then he does, and he throws up. He could just end it all, but he decides, I'm not ready to give up on life. And he's got 2 probes on the top of his skull, 1 in the center of his forehead, 1 behind each ear, and 1 large one at the base of his neck. That's a lot.
Looks gross.
Because they had to shave his head, too. He is hearing whispers, but he's not quite sure what they say.
I didn't realize that the cover of the book, because if you can see from the YouTube page, sorry for all the Spotify people, but it has like the Elusive Man on the bottom, and on the top is Grayson, because he's covered in a bunch of stuff. I thought this was the Elusive Man.
Oh, because I know it's kind of...
Because it was, it was him on the bottom.
I've got these weird probe things and white eyes. Elusive Man's just smoking a cigarette, watching the world burn. So the red sand allows him to understand the whisper. Back to Collie.
She's staying at the Turian embassy.
It's been 2 weeks.
They have a C-Sectarian task force for this Cerberus mission. They're gonna go because the information that she got from Grayson was like where Cerberus bases are. So that's what they told the Turian ambassador. They're like, here's places we should hit that have Cerberus people in them. So yeah, they're gonna send in a task force to take one of the facilities out.
To take all the facilities out.
Well, one at a time.
Yeah. They have to do it all at the same time so they don't shoot them. They don't send messages to each other.
Or shoot Grayson.
But we are only going to hear about one. Grayson is now a prisoner in his own body. His body is moving, but not by him. The implants in his brain have spread throughout his body. His flesh is stretched and semi-translucent. And he is developing biotics.
So using his biotic power that he was given helps him limit the power the Reaper has on his body, which is interesting.
Keeps them at bay.
Yeah, the more he uses it, the more, I guess because it exhausts them maybe or something
They have to
like
take
that.
a little nap.
Until he's drugged again, then the Reapers take over. He has a device inside of him that can just remotely administer drugs, which is super gross. And they're giving Grayson 3 days before they kill him.
Well, so he has a week before he's fully dangerous. So they're like, all right, 7 days, we're going to terminate in 3. Back to Kali. She is giving a briefing to hit Cerberus targets, and it talks about how she learned the names of the Turians. I'm like, she's been there for like 2 weeks, and she's giving a briefing. Of course she's going to learn their names. That was a weird comment. And the Turians are questioning the legality of what they're about to do.
They're also not going to care about prisoners when they go in.
No, they're going to kill everyone. They're like, we kind of want the elusive man alive, but no one really knows what he's looks like, so no prisoners.
No, fair enough. So
I like how they're like, well, if Cerberus plays dirty, then so do we.
the time is now. Kai Lang was working out like Dragon Ball Z style in a gravity room when the Turians attacks. It woke up the elusive man. They picked the right base.
Yes.
They actually picked the right location first. The elusive man decided he's gonna go kill Grayson before taking the escape pod.
And so does Kai Lang. They both have the same, like, oh, we gotta go kill Grayson.
Soulmates.
The elusive man sees Dr. Nori. She's like running away from where she's supposed to be, and he's like, okay, the pods are over here.
Yeah, wait by the pods.
Wait for us.
Mm-hmm.
All hell breaks loose.
Oh yeah, the people waiting by the pods got killed.
Yeah. They are getting attacked by Turians, and just when the elusive man thinks he's gonna die,
Kai Lang saves him from a Turian group
with his knife.
And they decide, forget Grayson, let's go to the escape pod.
Yeah.
I almost died.
And I'm like, okay, well, if Dr. Nori's dead by the escape pods, and you're a Turian, why wouldn't you just destroy the escape pods so no one could escape?
Or at least station somebody else by the escape pods.
Or
to
like
shoot somebody who's gonna escape.
Or jettison them so no one could use them.
Maybe they want to keep the escape pods in case they need to use them.
Grayson is still alive, so the elusive man and Kai Lang escape, and he's like, it couldn't be just us, call on the secret channel, find out who else was hit.
Grayson feels the Reapers getting stronger, and the Turians came into his cell.
Please help me. No, don't.
Yeah, Grayson went for I guess the Reapers went for self-preservation and told the Turians to save him, but the Reapers didn't know his name.
So. I like how they're also like, there are no prisoners, but then they found him and like,
they're
he's
like,
obviously a prisoner.
Yeah.
That was weird.
They feel bad.
Just
this nude, weird-looking guy.
Yeah, he looks awful.
Turians take Grayson to their ship, and the Reapers inside his mind want him to kill the Turians.
Also, there's 2 escape pods missing, and I'm like, weren't they in the same one? Why?
No, they went on 2 separate ones.
2 separate ones?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the Reaper Grayson kills all the Turians, taking him to the Citadel, and then he like jettisons the bodies.
Yeah, he tries to resist the killing, but he punches them in the face.
Very good at
them
it.
instantly. Biotic blast the rest of them, and takes their ship basically.
And like jettisons the guns too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like, I don't need these.
Then he took a nap.
Mm-hmm.
That was exhausting. Next, it's Kali time.
She's running on a treadmill because she doesn't like to wait.
She's bored.
Like, I got all this spent up energy, nerves.
She goes to talk to Anderson and the Turian ambassador. All the strike teams made it back with a bunch of casualties. The shuttle with Grayson has not come back, though. And Anderson and Kali are going together since Anderson quit his job as...
Yeah, he's like, they were going to sanction me, so I just quit.
And they're going to the former Cerberus station, which is the one they just hit, right?
Yes.
That's where they're going? Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, there's some weird stuff there. There's no elusive man. Grayson's alive because they scanned him, so they knew that he was there. And I like how they're like, well, maybe he did something. And Collie's like, he's not a traitor. But I'm like, that's exactly what he is. He was a traitor to Cerberus.
Yeah, she's super protective of her pen pal.
Yes.
The elusive man is reeling from his loss, but Cerberus still kicking.
Yeah. Or I also like the fact that they're like, Collie, is Grayson a drug addict? And she's like, he hasn't touched it in 3 years. Like, the answer is yes. Yeah, like also how Anderson tells him, you're not always the best judge of character.
To Collie?
Yeah, and she's like, what are you talking about? He's like, Dr. Kwan, Yuro Toshiba. She's like, how do you know about that? So they're gonna send
Anderson.
her. Yeah. Right. So they're like, okay, well, they were doing some weird stuff, and she's like, well, I'm a human and I do research. Send me. They're like, no, that's not a good idea. And Anderson's like, it'll be faster because she knows how to read it.
It's true.
And so they both go because he resigned, and he's got to go hang out with Sanders.
So the elusive man is gonna send Kai Lang to Omega.
They are in his lair, his super secret ship, which only has the most devout
loyal
Cerberus
of elusive man fans.
And then it says there's only 6 Cerberus operatives, field operatives that have seen it, and every time they come, he has to get rid of the entire crew and then move his ship.
Oh, weird.
He doesn't trust his own people. Yeah, Cerberus is done, but Elusive Man will rebuild. It's gonna be expensive though. And then we're back on he's like, it all started on Omega.
He thinks that Grayson's gonna go to Omega, I think, is why he sent Kai Lang there, right? Or to talk to Arya. Something like that.
Yeah. Kali is at the base. The Turians are basically grave robbing all the corpses. We find out that no anesthesia was used on Grayson during his experiments. I guess they'd use red sand. Wouldn't that be a form of anesthesia?
I guess, but I don't think they know that they use red sand.
Anderson tells Kali and Sato Devavia, who is a Turian scientist, about the Reapers, and they're like,
"Yeah, okay.
Why haven't I heard about this?"
Okay, so this is the accurate explanation of what the Reapers are, but it sounds so stupid. Hyper-intelligent spaceships on the outskirts of space coming back every once in a while to kill almost everything. Hyper-intelligent spaceships in deep space.
They're like, that's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. I was like, yeah, that's basically what they are, and that sounds dumb as hell.
There was intelligent live spaceships in Farscape. Kai Lang is going to go talk to Arya. And so the elusive man, he's like, I need someone I can trust. Just do and say exactly what I tell you, and everything will work out great.
Oh, is this Kai Lang talking to Arya?
No, this is elusive man talking to Kai Lang. Be like, tell her what I tell you exactly.
Oh.
And then he goes and he just tells her the truth. He's like, well, this is not working, and he just tells her the truth. So elusive man thinks very highly of himself.
And Arya agrees to have a Skype call with the elusive man.
A holographic relay. Elusive Man feeds her some BS about Grayson working for them, then the Turians. And then my favorite quote on here is, the smarter someone was, the easier it was to make them believe I don't even know, I can't even read my own handwriting.
It's how lying to smart people is easier because smart people will fill in the gaps themselves, or dumb people will need an explanation. It's just people who think that they're smart.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I see what you're putting down, and you don't have to talk more.
That says complex lie. So make them believe a complex lie. Yeah. And because Arya totally believes everything.
Arya thinks she's the smartest person on the planet.
She's like, oh, okay.
So he also tells her that Collie Sanders is his partner in crime.
And that to find him, you have to have Sanders.
So the elusive man tells Arya where Sanders is and tells her 4 million credits if Grayson is killed. Arya agrees. Kai Lang dips, but he stays on Omega to keep an eye on Arya.
Oh, but she wants this is a weird negotiating book because she's like, okay, well, we're keeping a Kai Lang then, and he's like, no, you're not. And she's like, I guess we're not.
But he's staying anyway, so.
Yes, he's rented a room across the street. That's I put, how is Arya so dumb, but runs this whole empire?
Because she has confidence.
All right, we're back to Grayson. He wakes up. He is fixed from his previous injuries because the Turians roughed him up. He's noticing that he's having withdrawals, but also that something is wrong. He's only one jump from the Citadel, and he's like, nope, can't go there. That's where Kali is. He goes in the opposite direction. Arya is going to send 40 people to attack the Turians on the base, which is where Sanders is.
So Grayson was gonna kill himself, but he was like, nah, I'm gonna fly my ship into the deep emptiness of space and then slowly die instead. That seems cool. But then he was gonna send an email to Kali warning her to stay away from him, which was dumb because why would you do that? But then the Reapers hijacked his mind when he was saying that email and was like, Kali, I gotta see you right away.
Yeah.
And that's when Arya's squad found them already on the old Cerberus station.
Yeah, because that's where the elusive man's like, they're probably there.
Yeah, Arya's group beat them up and kidnapped both Kali and Anderson.
Yeah, so the Turians lock Anderson and Kali in a room. They're like, don't come out until the battle's over. But then a Krogan opens the door and they're like, crap. And it takes both Anderson and Kali. And like beats the crap out of him. Like, Kali hurts her hand, which I'm like, for people who have med kits that fix everything like super fast, why is her hand broken for the rest of the book?
The Metagel? Yeah, I don't know.
Anderson wakes up and he is naked on the couch.
He's in a pretty Gucci suite though. Same with Kali.
They're at Afterlife, which I didn't get until later.
They're in like a room in Afterlife.
Yep,
then?
they're in one of those expensive rooms. Because there's a bar in there too. So he goes, there's a bedroom, and he opens the door, and Kali's also there. She's probably also naked, but I think she's under the sheet. And her clothes are next to her as well. They have a drink at the bar, and they kiss.
They make out.
And then the door opens.
Arya comes in and laughs at them.
Am I interrupting you?
Arya says that she hacked into Kali's extranet account and saw a message from Grayson saying, hey, I want to see you, and wants Kali to reply and say yes.
So she's like, I'll help you as long as you don't kill Grayson. And she's like, no.
Grayson got the message. He thought Kali sounded odd, but he's still heading to Omega to see her.
Also, like, so the negotiation thing didn't work out well for her. Because they're like, no, I'll figure it out later. And then she's also like, she's not really thinking about Anderson. She's like, oh, I wouldn't let them hurt you either, Anderson. And it's like, Anderson this whole time is like, there's something going on between her and Grayson.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Anderson is kind of jealous of Kali's relationship with Grayson. Because it's a weird one. Yeah.
Anderson suggests that Kaylee just tells Arya everything. And she's like, no, I have to keep some cards close to them. I'm like, just tell people things. This would all end a lot simpler if you just told everyone the truth.
Well, she's like a weird drug lord person, though.
Yeah.
Why would I trust that? That beat you up and kidnapped you.
Yeah.
I don't trust Arya at all. Although she's probably too stupid to do anything with your information.
Yeah.
She'll just pretend like she's the one who got you to say it.
I mean, that way she would at least know that Grayson is dangerous.
Yeah, but I don't care if Arya's people die.
But, okay, so the Reapers have been making Grayson unconscious so that they can use him. He gets Kali's message, and he's off to Omega.
Grayson on Omega? More likely than you think. He realized that the Reapers made him come here? Yeah, he may be able to control it, but can't. But he thinks he can. You get it?
Oh, and, like, she refers to... So we go back to college. She refers to him as David, not Anderson anymore, now that they've kissed. Mm-hmm. And it's the quote is, it was almost like he was waiting for her to work out her feelings for Paul before he let himself get too close.
Did she work it out already? Because I don't think she did.
No, she did not. But he's like, I don't want to get hurt, so I'm going to keep you at a distance, Kali. And now we're waiting for Grayson to show up.
Kai Lang's watching Grayson walk around Omega.
Oh, and Kali's like, oh, are you, like, I did this for you, you're not going to hurt him. And she's like, what you want is of no consequences. And Kali's like, you promised you wouldn't hurt him. And she's like, no, I didn't.
No, she did not. That is the truth.
Everyone wants things they cannot get.
But Kali manages to convince that one guy, what's his name? The second in command. Sanic? To bring Anderson with her
Yeah.
to the meeting, because she's gonna go meet with Grayson.
Well, also Sanek's not in charge anymore.
No.
The Krogan. So Grayson knows that he's meeting Kali on Arya's turf because he used to work for her. So he's like, I know this place.
I know this warehouse.
His own body is fighting him, resisting him. No, I won't take you to her. Kai Lang is like in the door, but he's like, he can't see me. And then like the next line is, he sees somebody in the doorway. Nice try, Kai. Yeah, Kai Lang was like watching he has a video feed of the back entrance. And so he sees Kali and Anderson and Sinek come out. So Kali was able to negotiate Anderson to come. He follows them. He's in the doorway. Grayson's Reaper side is searching for information on Kali and the biotic children she teaches. So he's like thinking about her, and his thought process leads to different thoughts. And then he was like, oh crap, they're searching my mind for information. Baseball.
Just keep thinking about random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just start singing in your brain.
La la la.
Grayson's pretty sure this is a trap. He tries to run, but the Reapers force him into the warehouse. Yeah, Grayson's like, yeah, this is definitely a trap. I'm gonna leave. And the Reapers are like, oh, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
You're going in that warehouse.
He single-handedly takes out a Krogan. And just...
Kali sees Grayson and is like, ew. Gross. The Reapers can sense all the people around him. Anderson is also like, ew, he looks like a husk.
But he can't really see him where he's at.
You can see him a little bit. They tried to attack Grayson. It didn't work out. Grayson is too cool to die, is what I wrote.
Dude, he like takes out a freaking Krogan on his own and then like jumps out of the building. Anderson takes this opportunity to kill Sinek, and then they're like, we need to get off planet. And out of the shadows pop Kai Lang, who says, I've got a ride. And
yeah, like, Kaylee's outside being extremely dramatic in the rain. Grayson's gone. Anderson is like, now's our chance to get out of here. And Kai Lang's like, let me help you with that.
I got a ride.
So Grayson's running. Arya's goons are giving him chase, and they're just straight blasting. Kai Lang is honest with Anderson and Kali, saying that they can work together, but Anderson tries to shoot him, and they tussle, and Kai Lang wins.
For someone who is supposed to be so smart, Kali is so freaking stupid.
What?
They know that he is from Cerberus.
Yeah.
You should tell him to F off. But as soon as he lies to her and says, oh, we can reverse.
Yeah, Cerberus can fix Grayson.
And she's like, okay. But it's like you. And then she spends the whole time like walking, thinking like, okay, I've looked at all this research. Is that something that's even possible? And so she's thinking as they're walking, and Anderson's thinking like...
I'm surprised Anderson went along with it, to be honest.
Yeah, he went along with it because she went along with it. Arya's pissed that Cerberus didn't tell her about Grayson's upgrades.
Yeah, and she's like, Grayson should be shot on sight if you see him.
And Grayson tears through the city and escapes in a shuttle, and his course is plotted for Grissom Academy, where the smart kids are.
Yeah, the Reapers, after they stole one of Arya's ships, they began hacking and creating a virus, and then they sent it to Grissom Academy.
Oh, is that what happened with the... Because I was like, why don't they have comms?
They don't have comms because they hacked it. They virused them.
And they're like, oh, it's been down for 4 hours. So Kali and Anderson... Kali's trying to figure out if Lang is lying. Anderson is trying to figure out a plan to take out Lang. Kai Lang.
They're on his ship.
So he's leading them to their ship, which is in Talon territory, which is run by the Turians. And so they have to jump over this barrier to get there, but Kali's hand is injured, so he's like, Anderson is like, oh, we're gonna have to help her get over, so one of the Talon guys, like, helps her up, but then he, like, pushes her, Anderson pushes Kali into the Turian, so he's off balance, so he can get his little
he
zapper
tripped him
thing.
up so he can grab his stunner.
And then that causes Kai Lang to shoot the other Turians because they're like,
no, he stuns Kai Lang, and the gang is like, what the fuck? And then Anderson is like, that guy was holding us prisoner.
Because Kai Lang was going to attack them, because the tussle caused the other Turians to come up.
Well, to like point their guns at, because they're like, what's happening? You all tripping.
Yep, literally. And
so Kai Lang thinks they're being attacked, so he points his weapon and then gets stunned, and then
they're like, he's from Cerberus.
He's holding us prisoner, he's from Cerberus.
They're like,
and the gang's like, oh, okay, yeah. You can go steal
They're like,
ship.
We'll take him, and they're like, can we have him?
Yeah, okay, that was weird. That was the part I was mad at, because I was like, just let the gang have Kai Lang.
No, we have to take him to the Alliance. It's the thing to do.
No.
No.
Just leave Kai Lang
Causing problems in the future.
But whatever, they decide to take Kai
Bad
Lang with
decisions.
them.
That's what this book should be called. Bad decisions. Kylie finally figures out where Grayson is going. He's like, "You're the key," and she's like, "Am I? Oh crap! That's our connection. It's Grissom Academy. All those kids."
They couldn't send a message to Grissom Academy because the virus.
The comms have been
So,
down for 4 hours.
They decided
So
to just
weird.
go there and stop Grayson themselves.
But Grayson gets there 10 minutes before them, and he
hides his gross body with a cloak.
Yes.
And
And then he
plays
uses
ill.
deception. The Reapers use deception to be like, I'm so sick.
I'm just sick, sorry. And then he kills the guards and heads for the Ascension Project wing.
The super secret area where all the information is because he's a Reaper. They decide to keep Kai Lang. They land the shuttle. Anderson has to get an environmental suit to get out of the shuttle because the door's not working.
He has to go outside into space.
And they keep... So he opens the door, lets Kali in. They see the dead guards. They keep Kali in the shuttle.
Yes.
And they're like, he can't get out. Ha ha.
They tie him up, and then they split up.
Yes. Kali has to go warn the guard stations. Anderson is going to the archives.
They're going to the labs.
Which is part of the archive.
Collie's going to go get the guards and evacuate the students while Anderson is going to the labs to kill Grayson.
Kai Lang, surprise, surprise, gets out. And he's all excited about hunting Grayson.
Grayson arrives at the lab, kills all of the scientists, tries to get to the data archives. Collie busts into the guard station.
With the help of Chief of Security Jimenez.
Someone infiltrated the station. They got all the kids and teachers in one room, lied, saying that they were kidnappers on the station. No, Collie lied.
Collie lies. Because Nick's like, what's going on? And Nick's like, I can help you. Because Collie's hand's all broken. And why she doesn't take the freaking chief of security with her is so dumb. She's like, no, I have to go on my own. You stay here with the kids.
She doesn't want to kill Grayson, and she guarantees that if this Chica, because I think it's a lady.
Yeah.
Can see Paul Grayson looking gross. She wants to keep him alive. Everyone else wants him dead.
I also like the fact that Anderson finally finds Grayson and just automatically shoots him. Go Anderson. But then there's a weird biotic fight, and Anderson feels like he's being pushed and pulled apart at a cellular level, and he's like, I gotta get out of here.
Nick, one of the biotic kids from the beginning of the book, you know, the one with the crush on Collie, slips out and runs into Kai Lang.
He uses the younger kid that he was hanging out with as a distraction so he could sneak out, so he could save his crush.
Kai Lang calls himself Steve. And
you could just have used the name Kai Lang. I'm Steve.
This kid is gonna snitch. Kai Lang and Nick are gonna work together now.
Yeah, because he's like, there's kidnappers. And he's like, well, I'm not a kidnapper because I don't have any weapons on me, see? And he's like, well, you look like you don't need weapons. It's like, true. I'll help you.
Kai Lang made it to Anderson and Grayson. Grayson KO'd Anderson.
Yeah, he's on the ground, and Collie's like, I don't even know if he's alive, but she can't even check because Grayson grabs her arm and, like, pulls her.
Yeah, but she manages to convince the Reapers that she's too important to kill.
Mm-hmm. And they have a weird conversation. So he's like, come with me, and she's not arguing. She just keeps going with him, and they say Grayson is gone.
And they give a little Reaper speech about how organics suck, and being a hive mind is totally rad.
We seek salvation. Anderson is alive, but totally broken. Collie has that weird conversation where she's like, what?
Collie seems to be kind of digging the Reaper speech.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, no, a hive mind is
we are
totally
the
cool.
keepers of the cycle, the creators and the destroyers.
Nick and Kai Lang, aka Steve,
we can make you immortal.
Waiting for Grayson to walk by and then attack.
Yeah, they hear noises, and Kai Lang can tell that it's Sanders and Grayson, and so they hide in a room. And he's going to use Nick to kill Grayson.
When somebody walked by, Nick went out and tried to blast the kidnappers, realizing it was Collie, and then created a wave. Collie lost her gun. Grayson tried to attack Nick, but Collie stopped him before getting thrown across the room, and then Nick gets shot.
Mm-hmm. And Collie is, like, trying to collect her brain matter.
She's got biotic waved across the room. Kai Lang went for Collie's gun, but Grayson kicked it away. Anderson comes in blasting, kills Grayson, And then Kai Lang double taps Grayson.
Nick is shot in the stomach. Kai Lang just watches, like he's not helping the kid out at all. And as Grayson's dying, the Reapers disconnect. He feels them leaving him. Anderson has Kai Lang, like he's got the shotgun pointed at Kai Lang. Kai Lang has to drop. Kylie is screaming for a med kit. I'm like, get it yourself, lady.
Well, she has to hold
the
his
tube
wound
of the stomach
together. So she's holding the wound together for Nick, because Nick is dying. Anderson's too focused on Kai Lang to get a med kit to help save this child. Anderson is like, Kai Lang, keep the wounds closed while Kali gets the med kit. And Kai Lang's like, no.
You can either let me go or this kid can die.
Anderson goes
I would have
to
just
help.
freaking shot Kai Lang in the face at that point.
And got the med kit? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This poor kid is caught in the middle of this weird war. He's dying and bleeding out.
So Anderson shoots Kai Lang in the leg so he can't walk. And he's like, show me where to put pressure.
And Lang crawls away.
And like the guards aren't even coming.
Well, I mean, Colleen's like, Anderson, go get the med kit. And Anderson's like, I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can tell you.
By the time I get there, this kid's gonna be dead.
Yeah.
I'm
So
like,
Kai Lang crawls away.
worthless.
They managed to save Nick. The guards went after Kai Lang.
They're like, maybe you should go find this guy. And they're like, they just follow his blood trail.
Kai says bye to Grayson's corpse.
Kai Lang really wants to kill Anderson. He's thinking about going back and just shooting him. He decides to use the anti-gravity bars at the top as like monkey bars to go through the station to get to Escape.
He does manage to escape.
Yes, at the last minute the guards see him, but he tucks and rolls into the shuttle and leaves.
He calls the elusive man, tells him the news, and then goes to bed.
And he's like, here, let me send you the new coordinates to the place. 3 days later, Anderson wants to study Grayson, so he's got to ask Kali for permission. And he's like, come with me. And they...
Yeah, he wants her to join his research team, and then they make out.
But they're like, don't tell Nick, because Nick is also recovering, and he's jealous.
Oh, yeah. Epilogue.
Elusive Man asks Arya for the data from his lab, since she runs it now. He's like, you can send me a copy of it, I'll give you $3 million. What I thought would be a better ending is if he gave her Kai Lang and said, I will give you the person who killed your daughter.
Ha!
That would have been a better
He can't
ending.
give up Kai Lang, though. He needs him.
Yeah.
To torment Shepard in 3.
And that's the end.
And that's the end of the book.
Next
month, we are reading Uncharted.
The novelization of the movie.
Is it just called Uncharted?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's a
By
novelization of it.
S.D. Perry.
Who wrote our Resident Evil book that we read. So we're going to do a little crossover with our AV, and we're going to read the book to see how close it is to the movie, and we will tell you how close the movie is to the series.
See you next time.
See ya!
Bye.